I'm Maya from Book from Dreams and welcome to a new video. So, remember at the beginning of the year when Christina and I both talked about reading less, so like we could enjoy our books more? That was a really lofty goal apparently, because I have so many books to read this month because I have decided to participate in 6 different readathons. I just kept getting surprised with how many readathons are happening in May. Same thing happened with April, and now in May we are at it again. So there are 6 readathons that I want to participate in May. So how will this video go? I will first just tell you about all the readathons I want to participate in, and then I'll tell you about the books. And when I talk to you about the books, I'll just write somewhere what readathon I'm reading this book for, because if I don't do that, then we'll be here forever. The first readathon I'm going to talk about is the Asian readathon, which is created and hosted by Cindy from With Cindy. As I said, happening through the entirety of May, and the goal is to read books by Asian authors. Now, there are some reading challenges which are based on the film Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a movie you can't see in Croatia. I've checked. But yeah, just the goal is to read books by Asian authors. The next month-long readathon is May the Force Read With You, which is created. I saw the video on Leslie from the channel The Nerdy Narrative, and they are co-hosts this readathon. I will leave the links to everything down below so you can check it out by yourself. So basically, in this readathon, you pick if you want to be the part of the Jedi Order or the Sith Order, so the light side and the dark side. And with each order, you have abilities, and you have to read books to sort of rise in rank in each order. And there are prompts for every ranking. There are also challenges to get like a partner, a weapon, and like a vehicle or something. Anyway, but I'm just gonna stick to the main ones. And the third month-long readathon I'm participating in is the Medievalathon, which was created and is hosted by Holly from Holy Hearts Books. And in this readathon, you basically rise through the nobility ranks. With each book you read, you rise up. You start as a prisoner, and when you read, I think, 7 books, you become emperor or empress. You can also read books for medieval occupations, so there are 5 of them. So you can be a baker, a blacksmith, a bard, a clergy person, and a tailor. And now let's talk about all the other readathons. Now, the first readathon I want to talk about is the Final Book Support Group readathon. This is a book club created by Stephanie from Steph Loves, or is it Steph? Anyway, she created this book club thingy where you're supposed to read final books in the series or continue your series that you're in the middle of. And basically there is a bingo board for this readathon, which is happening from the 2nd to the 15th of May, so that is 2 weeks. There is a bingo board with reading prompts and with self-care prompts, but I decided just to pick a couple of books to finish a couple of the series, or just continue on with the series I'm reading so far. The next readathon I'm participating in is the Mafia Romance readathon, which is happening from the 5th to 5th of May to 8th of May. It's like a long weekend, and there are many hosts for this, but I saw this video on Jessen Reads Romance channel and on Peace Loves Books channel. Oh my god, so many names. So basically the goal of this is to read mafia romances. They do have a bingo board which is empty, and they give you a bunch of prompts so that you can build your own bingo board if you want. And the last readathon that I'm going to participate in the month of May is Translateathon, which is created and hosted by Rhea from the Bookfinch. And the goal of this readathon, which is happening from the 16th to the 29th of May, is to read translated works. So it can be books, manga, comics, graphic novels, anything that is translated. There are some reading challenges as well, but you can check out their announcement video for the readathon down below in the description box, and maybe somewhere. I mean, it's so many readathons and so many books that I actually had to make a mind map for me to figure out what I'm reading and what I'm reading stuff for. I will just go through the books, and I will just write down below what what readathon the books belong to. All right, so there are 15 books on my TBR. I sent a picture to Christina of my stack of books, and she was like, do we need to like have an intervention or something? Yeah, I think I went overboard. We'll see how many of these I will go through. My basic, whenever I participate in a readathon, my basic goal is to try to read like 2 to 3 books for that readathon, unless, you know, they have like specific prompts that I have to follow. So that's how I went with, and we'll see how much this gets read. I mean, if we look at my reading for the previous couple of months, I think this is doable, but we'll see what happens. All right, so the first book I want to talk about is Burn For Me by Ilona Andrews. This is book 1 in the Nevada Taylor series. There's also a read-along happening for this series. That's why this is here, and also for I think one of the readathons has a prompt for a comfort read, and anything by Ilona Andrews, and definitely this series is one of my comfort reads. So I will just tell you what this is about. This is an urban fantasy in which you follow Nevada. So she is faced with the most challenging case of her detective career, says here in the back. A suicide mission to bring in a suspect in a volatile situation. Nevada isn't sure she has the chops. Her quarry is a prime, the highest rank of magic user, who can set anyone and anything on fire. Then she's kidnapped by Connor Mad Rogan, a darkly tempting billionaire with equally devastating powers. Torn between wanting to run and wanting to surrender to their overwhelming attraction, Nevada must join forces with Rogan to stay alive. So, the second book on my TBR is this humongous thing. It's Louis McMaster Bujold's, I should have looked up the translation for this. I want to say The Dance of Mirrors. So this is either book 5 or either book 9 and 10 or 10 in the Miles Vorkosigan saga, in which we follow Miles Vorkosigan, and he is, this is a space opera whole series and book. What can I tell you so it's not spoilery? I can tell you that this is not Miles, it's his clone. We spoil stuff for you. And basically in this one, the clone sort of takes part of Miles's mercenary gang, a band of space pirates, and he goes around trying to destroy cloning facilities. That's all I know. And I always go in these not knowing much, so I'm pleasantly surprised when I figure out what the book is about. Also, look at this background. Look at that. How awesome is that? Alright. Next book I have in my pile is The Dead Man in a Ditch by Luke Arnold. This is book 2 in... What is the name of the series? See, Fetch Phillips series? Anyway, in this series we follow Fetch Phillips. In book 1 we follow Fetch Phillips, who lives in a world that used to have magic. And because he was somewhat instrumental in magic disappearing, he feels kind of bad about it, and he works only with magical creatures to help them, like a private investigator, detective, something. Anyway, so stuff happens in the first book, but in the second book, people of the town that he lives in, Saunders City, start believing that Fetch can bring back magic. So he's brought in a case where someone is murdered. Who is murdered? When a man is murdered in a way that can only be explained as magical, Fetch is brought in on the case. A case which just might unearth things best left buried. So I've had this for a long time, and I just never been able to sort of fit it in all of the stuff that I'm reading. So I'm definitely going to read this because the third one is coming out soon. The author had a cover reveal on his Instagram, and it looks really, really cool. So I'm reading this. The next book on my TBR is The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. So this is book 3 in the... It's not the Kiss Quotient series, but anyway, it had the Kiss Quotient and the Bright Test books 1 and 2 in this series. So I'll just read you what the book is about. So basically, when violinist Anna's son accidentally achieves career success with a viral YouTube video, she finds herself overwhelmed trying to live up to it. And when her boyfriend of 5 years announces that he wants an open relationship, a hurt and angry Anna decides to embark on a string of one-night stands. The more unacceptable the man, the better. So enter tattooed motorcycle-riding Kwan, something I'm not going to try and butcher. Their first attempt at a one-night stand fails, as does their second and their third, because being with Kwan is about more than sex.
But when tragedy strikes Anna's family, she takes on a role that threatens to destroy her. Now Anna and Kwan have to fight for their chance to love, but to do that, they also have to fight for themselves.
Next, another humongous book, so look at that thing. So this is The Wall of Storms by Ken Liu. This is book 2 in the Dandelion Dynasty series. So basically, I read the first one during the last year's Asian Readathon, so I'm reading this one for this year's Readathon. Basically, Dara is united under the Emperor again, once known as Kunigaru, the Bandit King. Yeah, from the first book. There has been peace for 6 years, but the Dandelion throne rests on bloody foundations. Kuni's betrayal of his friend Mata, the hegemon. The hegemon's rule was brutal and unbending, but he died well, creating a legend that haunts the new emperor no matter what good he strives to do. Where war once forged unbreakable bonds between Kuni's inner circle, peace now gnaws at their loyalties. Where ancient wisdoms once held sway, a brilliant scholar promises philosophical revolution, and from the far north over the horizon comes a terrible new threat. A scent of blood is in the water. Now this is a fantastic and epic fantasy world with steampunk elements, not steampunk, silk punk elements, and just, it's so epic. They're like gods involved. There are so many characters. They're all interwoven into this really great story, and I'm so looking forward to reading this one. Next, we have something by Sebastian de Castell, Charmcaster. This is book 3 in his series. See, I forgot to check the names of the series. So this is the series in which we follow a dude who doesn't have magic, a little kid who doesn't have magic, and in his world, in his village, you have to participate, Spellslinger series, see? You have to participate in battle royale of magics, right? And since he doesn't have magic, he's been taught by his friend how to sort of survive the world with little or no magic. And so in the third one, what does he do? I have no idea. It says here, destiny has a dark side. In something I cannot pronounce, a land of wondrous contraptions, the invention of an exquisite mechanical bird has brought spies from all over the continent who will kill to get their hands on it. Ooh. But the bird holds a dark secret, one that will set off a war unless Kellen, the kid, right, and his thieving squirrel cat, this thing here, can uncover it first. All right, next book on my TBR is Dark Dawn by J. Christoph. This is book 3 in his Nevernight series, in which we follow Mia Corvere, who is an assassin, and many other things as she goes around the story, killing people and just discovering the truth about her family and avenging her family's death. So it says here, Pale Daughter, Kingmaker, Crow, a killer of kings, Gladiati, escaped slave, infamous assassin Mia Corvere is on the run. After winning the greatest games God's grave has ever seen and giving the gift of murder to her victor's speech, Mia is being hunted by every blade of the Red Church and every soldier of the Illuminati Legion, and so on and so on. I've been listening to these on audiobook because they're just fantastic, and you know, it's a story with, I already started it before, but I stopped. I can see some of tabs here, but yeah, it's last in the series, so hopefully I will get to it. Now this book definitely was unexpected. So this is Everless by Sarah Holland, right? So one of the readathons has a prompt of hardcover. You have to read a hardcover book. I don't have a lot of hardcover books. All my hardcover books are like fairy loot reads that I haven't read for a reason, because they're YA fantasy. I'm not really in the YA fantasy mood and haven't been for a couple of years. But this was the smallest one I had. So let's see what this is about. So basically, in the land of Sempera, the rich control everything, even time. Ever since the age of alchemy and sorcery, hours, days, and years have been extracted from blood and bound to iron coins. The rich live for centuries, the poor bleed themselves dry. Jules and her father are behind on their rent and low on hours. To stop him from draining himself to clear their debts, Julia takes a job at Everless, the grand estate of the cruel Girling family. There, Jules encounters danger and temptation in the guise of the heir Rowan, who is soon to be married. But the web of secrets at Everless stretches beyond her desire, and the truth she must uncover will change her life forever, and possibly the future of time itself. So it's on my TBR. Not even the last two books. Last two physical books I can show you. All right. So this next one is Night Film by Marisha Pessel. This is for translateathon, as you can see, because everything is in creation. So in this we try to discover someone's been murdered. A daughter of if I remember, a daughter of some director who does like very specific horror films, right? So reporter is trying to investigate her murder because he's suspicious about the whole suicide thing that the murder was not solved as, but designated as. And it is mixed media. You can see like there are reports and there are I don't know, stuff, different kind of things. So since it's in creation, hopefully it will not take me too long to read this book. The last one, which I'm not sure I'll even get to, but I just wanted to have options for translateathon. So this is 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So basically we follow a reporter who goes to talk to Evelyn Hugo, who used to be like this big Hollywood star, and where Evelyn talks about her life and all her loves and so on. And my mom spoiled it for me already because she read this last year, and she was like, oh my god, it's so good, and then she told me why it was so good. But yeah, this is one of the books for translateathon. Now I have like 3 books for Mafia Romance Readathon that I want to talk to you about. So the first one being The Hitman by Katrina Jackson. So this is book 2 in the family series. I read book 1 like last week because I was trying to make a TBR for this readathon, and then this one, the first book in this series is called The Beautiful and Dirty, and it was like 63 pages. Like, I can read 63 pages, so I did, and it was fun. So basically in The Hitman, this is book 2 in this series, we follow Zara. She finds out that her fiance cheated on her like the night before her wedding with her maid of honor, best friend, and like some other girl. And she's also a reality star, so everyone's filming her wedding. So when she finds out that he cheated, she basically hits him, goes away to Italy to honeymoon by herself, and there she's like drunk, crying, and all that, and you know, I guess wallowing in self misery. And her room is next to Giulio's, who is a hitman in the like Italian mob something, and he's like all annoyed that like there's a crying lady next to his room, so he goes to confront her. And he sees that she's beautiful, and then someone tries to kill him. And now the 2 of them are on the run, and I guess romance blossoms. The next book I'm going to read for that readathon is The Brutal Prince by Sophie Lurick. So basically a girl, nope, none of these summaries had the name of the female character, the heroine of these stories in the summary. So that's why I say girl, because I didn't know their name. So a girl is like part of the Irish mob. Right, her family is part of the Irish mob, and then they have this rivalry with another part of the Irish mob, and basically she's forced to marry this dude called Callum Griffin. I don't know, sort of to prevent the war between their families or factions, whatnot. And basically, it's an enemies to lovers story, forced marriage. And also like the books, it says like she basically, their animosity starts when she basically sets his house on fire. And then stuff happens. I don't know. We'll see. And the third book that I have for this readathon is Crow by A. Zavarelli, in which we follow a woman who infiltrates the Irish mob to find her friend, but then catches the eye of one of the Irish mobsters, and then I guess stuff happens from there. Okay, I have 2 more books to talk to you about, because I think I forgot about them in my general. Anyway, so I'm participating in the Buzzword Reading Challenge, and reading challenge for the month of May is to read a book that has a distance word in it, right? I think distance or direction. So I chose between, and I picked the book The Space Between Worlds. I forgot to write down who wrote it, and I forgot to read again what this was about. But if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. It's about a person who can travel between worlds. In this whole world, people can travel between worlds if their doppelganger in the next parallel world doesn't exist, right? And we follow one character who can travel through many worlds, and then I guess stuff happens to that character. I have no idea. It will be interesting. I'm just looking forward to that one. And also I have to continue on with my first law series, read-along series. And the next book in the series is Best Served Cold, which is book 4 in the series. I thought that was a collection of short stories, but Turns out it's not. So in the first law, the first 3 books of the First Law series by Joe Abercrombie, we follow 3 different characters. Torturer, he's not a knight, like a knight, but not a knight, and a barbarian, as they go throughout the world trying to save it from stuff. I read the first 2 books. So the torturer keeps prevailing in political arena in each book that he is. Basically comes out alive of any situation that he's in. The barbarian and the knight are traveling around with a mage to try and find they were trying to find some artifact in the second book to help them fight the northern scourge or whatnot. And that ended in a certain way. And what happens in the third book, I don't know. I still haven't read it. But I do have a week left of April to read that one. So hopefully things end well. I have no idea. But yeah, that is, I think, all of my TBR for May. So many books. But you know, at least May has 31 days, so we'll see how if I can get to them all. If you're participating in any of the billion readathons that I am participating in this month, please do let me know down below. Let me know to check out your TBR, so to see what you are reading for that as well. If you have missed it, we do have sort of channel update, live update thing that's happening with our channel, because Christina is now occupied by a tiny human. She will not be sort of present in the first couple of months, I guess, or how many long she takes anyway. So you'll be seeing my face. If you like this video, you can press the like button, and you can subscribe to our channel. You can share this video if you want. Check out the links in the description box. This is difficult because usually Christina and I have like this back and forth when we do this, so it's difficult to think of what to say. Check out the links down below in the description box, and that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!